We are cutting into programming right now. Scott Carpenter and Sarah Killing with you, staying on top of late breaking news out of Birmingham.
A 2-alarm fire in 5 Points South. This is what we know right now. We want to give you a live look here.
I want you to take a look at this video. This is what our crew saw when they first arrived. You see that building is engulfed in flames there on 20th Street South in 5 Points South. Massive flames shooting out of the top of this building. We do know it was a vacant building, and then that fire that you see spread to 2 apartment buildings nearby, and the Red Cross has been there since 8:30 this morning assisting people.
And WVTM 13's Kayla Davis has been down on the scene now for hours working to talk to those impacted. Kayla, what have you learned?
Back to you guys.
Kayla, I want to keep you right there. Our viewers have been seeing video of what it looked like at different points today. Behind you, the building that first caught fire, if you could set the scene for us, that is totally gone, right? And it looks like the apartment building next to it is also at risk of being a total loss right now.
City of Birmingham, we know folks even down into Shelby County are seeing the fire from this smoke. What are firefighters, what are they saying about the risk to folks down in that area?
Looks like Kayla, can you hear us? We might have lost.
She may have lost the sound there, but we do know they were sending out a warning talking about the possible toxins from the fire up in this area. And just the scope there, the span that this fire spreads, it's a very large, they said at least the entire block impacted by this fire.
And it's still an active fire, right? Birmingham Fire still trying to put out this fire. Are we going back to Kayla, or are we keeping it here? Is Kayla able to hear us yet? Okay, it looks like we have lost Kayla, but once again, the Red Cross is out there assisting people. We know that they're going to be out there for a long time today. Obviously, they're asking you to avoid the area, as you just said. They said a fire of this size, there's going to be toxins. This is live images here. This is live, what our photographer on the ground is capturing. As this fire has spread from building to building, we know 3 buildings have caught fire. Thankfully, there are no injuries reported with this. But Sarah, we've been seeing images like this all morning long. Since 5 o'clock this morning when this started, you've been seeing those images right here on WVTM 13. And the intensity of these flames continues to throw smoke into the sky. And it's as quick as there you see the water rushing onto that spot. It's like as quick as they can react to this, it just continues to burn out of control.
Yeah, and this is still a building.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. So that you see that little like sign close to the road, right? There was a building right there in that lot that used to be standing as of early this morning. It caught fire. We watched the roof collapse right here in the studio. Then we watched the second floor go down, and then we watched the whole thing just crumble and fall. So that building that you're seeing smoldering off to the left of where I was describing right there, that's a separate building. That is in sense one of the apartment buildings that we're told has caught fire. One of the 2 apartment buildings that has caught fire. It almost looks like some fire has caught onto the back of that area as well, but that apartment is not even where it started. And then you go to the right, the other building that was, well, we had that shot there, the other building that was on fire is now, look at this, it just engulfed in flames there on the roof. That smoke is just pouring out. This is really just a horrible scenario for firefighters trying to get this under control. We know when we talked to a Birmingham Fire this morning, when Kayla was out there, they said there is a lot of firefighters out there. She didn't even really know, right, how many different departments had responded, if they were getting help from different neighboring cities. This is turning into an all-hands-on-deck situation, and you can see as they're pouring water on it, it continues and continues to go up in flames. We're looking to get answers about how this started, right? Was it able to spread? Kayla talked about 2 explosions being heard from the house that potentially started this fire. That's the word from Birmingham Fire, is that there may have been a couple explosions that came from that vacant building. But it has spread and gone on. And before we can get any of those answers, before they can go in and investigate these things, they got to get this under control. Sarah, we're talking about a whole block of 5 Points South where a fire is just raging on for hours.
Yeah, this is not because of this fire.
And you heard from the woman that Kayla talked to there, who was in one of the neighboring apartments, where this fire really, they were getting taken out of the apartment as a precaution, right? And then that's the right thing that Birmingham Fire did. Credit there, because they saw that and got everybody in the neighboring buildings out. And that is potentially why we have no injuries, no deaths reported right now, which is the best news here that we can pass along in this moment. But she was saying they didn't think much of it, right? They just kind of thought this is a precaution. We'll be able to get back into our house, start our Friday on this Halloween Friday. And then this thing has just raged on and on. As you look at it and the intensity of the flames that were burning this morning at the house where it started, it was really hard to try to figure out just how that started and got going so quick and how the flames were raging that much. It seems like maybe something kind of sparked a fire there, as we talked about Birmingham Fire talking about 2 explosions from that house. So if you're just joining this morning and you're trying to set the scene of exactly what happened here, maybe you saw the plume of smoke and you turned your television on. These apartment buildings, these buildings, again on 20th Street South and 5 Points South, this is not where the fire started. This all seemingly started from a fire in that lot that now looks like it's vacant because that building is a total loss. And it has spread to those other buildings. We do know confirmed information that 3 buildings, the building that's gone and those 2 apartment buildings on each side, are the 3 buildings that have caught fire. And it still seems like a race to get this out. And you can see that apartment building on the left that now looks pretty much like a total loss. There's still fire coming from the roof there at the top of that building. And now these people that left their homes at 5 in the morning looked out onto the street at this vacant building, and they're probably aware that it was vacant, right? They're watching that burn, not thinking much of it, and now their whole life, everything that was inside, their prized possessions, is gone. And so this is a tough situation for those folks. Yeah,
what a wake-up call for those folks this morning.
PM 13.
And Jarvis, Scott and Sarah here with you, wanting to ask you a few questions while you're down there on the ground. You know, they put out a warning, Birmingham Fire, saying to avoid the area, asking the public to avoid this area because of toxins that can be released in a fire this size. Have you yourself noticed it's a little harder to breathe down there? Anything with just the size of the fire, the amount of smoke that's in the area?
Well, so was fire as well.
Jarvis, great information there. Thank you for your reporting. We're going to let you go and gather some more information as you work that scene. Again, these are live images from 20th Street South and 5 Points South. Jarvis made a great point about the smoke. When you see it start to get lighter, a light gray or a white smoke, that means normally the fire is more contained. But right now that is thick, dark smoke that is still just pouring into the air. And he touched on the air quality, saying where they are, the wind is really blowing it in a different direction, so they're not seeing too much effects. But there it is. Look at this. So this is the view from Red Mountain, right by our studio, right by Vulcan. And this is the thick black smoke that has been poured up into the air since, you'd say, like 5:30 this morning, Sarah. We started watching this shot and this smoke develop. People telling us they've been seeing it all the way down from Shelby County, and this is concerns now that in the area this could affect the air quality.
Yeah, and you know, that's a very busy area pretty quickly.
Yeah, normally they're able to contain these so quickly, and now you think about this starting at 5 in the morning. We're coming up on 10 in the morning now. Firefighters are battling this huge scene right now. So now you have a larger scene than they're used to, right? You've got basically an entire block that you have to contain, as you touched on so well and Jarvis touched on, in a very popular area. So this is video of how it started. So if you were watching the news this morning, you saw this. That building is still standing. This is now completely gone. The building has fallen. It is a total loss. This is right before, I believe, the roof was about to fall down. And then we kind of saw the second story go down, and then the first story went down. And the fire has only raged on from this moment. This is just the beginning. Here early in the morning, before the sun was up, this was just the beginning. And Birmingham firefighters are going through a shift change and dealing with all of this huge scene and fire. And there you see a piece of that building. That is one of the apartment buildings that this fire spread to. Kayla was saying there was 3 people in one apartment building, 17 in the other. Those are either people or units in total in these buildings, and those now look like they might be a loss. Now we go to our live images, and this shows that the fire is still raging on, and that smoke continues to pour out of there, and it is still that thick, dark smoke indicating that this fire is still going strong. We're starting to see some lighter colors get in there, but this is an active fire. They are still battling this out there. They're trying to get this under control. And you have to think about, you know, they're warning the public that toxins are out in the air, right? Well, the firefighters, they have equipment, but they're battling that too. And they go right to danger. Our first responders who try to keep us safe, and you can see they're trying to shoot water onto the top of the building here. And as quick as they're finding these areas and putting them out, it's just seemingly that this is spreading and just burning with such intensity.
Yeah, taking up for folks to be around.
And this is not what we normally see, right? Sometimes crews are so easily put out a fire. Sometimes they're there so quick and able to contain a fire, so only part of a building is destroyed. But it is interesting to note that you had Birmingham Fire saying just about an hour ago that there were potentially 2 explosions at the vacant house where this started. And then Jarvis pointed out, as a guy who has covered a lot of these, right? He's been to a lot of fires as a reporter and an anchor for us. And what's interesting to him is alcohol, tobacco, and fire. ATF agents are on the scene. So obviously, they got to get this under control really before the investigative work can begin. But it is interesting to see that ATF is on scene, and Birmingham Fire noted 2 explosions coming from that vacant house.
Yeah, you know, you and I both mentioning we've been Tainment area. You know this area well.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking about the poor people there who stepped outside as a precaution from those apartment buildings, watching this vacant building burn down, and now they have a lot to find out. The Red Cross is on scene helping them with that. They've been there since 8:30. We have Jarvis Robertson back with us here as we close in on 10 o'clock. Jarvis, what else can you tell us?